Hi Aquarius, welcome to your mid-April tarot and astrology reading. I hope you're all doing very well. This applies to Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon and Aquarius Rising. So Aquarius, it is Taurus season. It is a big time to think about the home, isn't that interesting? Lovers right off the bat. Love is a big question. Love is also a big answer. Ooh, Knight of Swords, there's your energy. Things could be taking off quite fast romantically. Venus is in Gemini. And although this is Taurus season, and of course it is to do with the home, and most Aquarians will find themselves in the home, as most of the world is doing, it's giving you a reassessment there, and the Taurus energy makes an uncomfortable square to Saturn in your sign. Of course, Saturn's going to leave your sign soon and move back into Capricorn, but once Saturn has had an influence in a house, it doesn't just go away. Once it's been in a sign, it doesn't just evaporate. You're getting a glimpse into the future. And it's the future of yourself. And although you are privy to the future in a way that no other sign is, Hierophant, it's giving you a real tug at how you analyze. It's giving you a real tug at how you view yourself, how you view other people, the assumptions that you have, the subconscious demands that you revolt against often, especially when they are human yearnings, because a lot of the time you guys think you're not necessarily human. You're such a humanitarian, but sometimes you have that disconnect with real people. So, Venus in Gemini. In your most romantic sector, Venus in your most romantic sector heightens your love life. And you know, some of you, if you are in a long-term bond, are probably having that conversation about what's next. Are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? What needs to be in turn for that? Do you like the idea? Do you trust the idea? Big questions. Big questions. And if you're just taking off with somebody, are you surprised at how serious it could actually be? Are you surprised that you seem to have met a kindred spirit? Are you liking that feeling? Do you feel icky even being asked? I think a lot of Aquarians do. They want to analyze stuff. You want to analyze your feelings away, or you want to put limitations in place. Saturn in your sign is actually making you reassess why you put so many limitations on connections. Not only that, but why you put so many limitations on yourself. Interesting. The new moon in Taurus forms square with Saturn in your sign. The new moon in Taurus is in a very homely, traditional, fuzzy department. And making a square is making you feel kind of uncomfortable in your own skin. No matter how confident you are, it's making you feel kind of uncomfortable in your own skin. It's making you feel very vulnerable. That's okay. Human. You don't like that though. Okay, so the Lovers and the Knight of Swords. Love seems to be taking off in a way that's quite quick, but the Hierophant is a twist where things get quite serious. If you are completely single and there's nobody on the periphery, be very, very intrigued by the world of online dating, because it seems to throw you up an option that's quite on a power with the way that you talk. You know what I mean. The world, yes. Very compatible. A lot of major arcanas in Taurus season. Saturn in your sign next year in 2021 is going to make a square with your ruler Uranus in Taurus. Those are big important energies. And you're getting a prelude with this new moon. What would you like your future to look like? You often think about the future outside of yourself. What's going to happen to the rest of the world? What's going to happen to society? How is the economy going to work with all this? How is life going to advance? But Aquarius, how are you going to do that? Can't you see that the universe is lining up something quite important for you on your own? Specifically you? And somebody else, but specifically you. Can't you see The World and the Three of Cups. There is something worth celebrating by the end of April. Something worth being very grateful for. And did you know that gratitude is it's the most easy way to raise your vibration? Knight of Swords and the Hierophant. But you need to do good work. Yes, you do. You need to contribute. You need to be a humanitarian. You need to be a maverick. You need to speak up for people. Of course you do. You always do. And you do it so well. But you have a feeling. You have a knowing. You have a psychic feeling with the High Priestess that something big is changing around you. And you're right. It is the age of Aquarius. It's your age. It's your energy. And you know there's a lot of things lining up beautifully, but you would be forgiven for feeling a little bit anxious at the shifts. You're a fixed sign. Knight of Swords and the Hierophant. Ace of Wands. You have a feeling that a seed has been planted that is like no other seed you've planted before. There is an inner knowing that the way that things have been, they'll never be the same again. Because when the World card appears in a reading, I think it's generally the sign you're looking for that one karmic chapter's been closed out and you're beginning a whole new phase. You know that things are different. The Hierophant, your belief systems, the things that have for a long time been your passions, been your ideas, been the way that you even looked at the world, are no longer. You know that they're changing and you're starting to feel disconnected from the things that you thought were everything to you. You thought you really, really wanted one thing and now you know that you're going through a new phase, and I think for a lot of you it's a new phase in love. Saturn is going to make you a better lover. It's going to make you better at romance. It's going to make you a less restrictive person in terms of the feelings that you give and the contribution that you give. And it's not that you don't love. We all know that you'd love. It's just that you can so easily talk yourself out of this wonderful thing. And you know what's funny? I remember one time hearing from my mum, she really found this funny. There was this lady in society. She was very, very affluent. It was a time when people had maids and servants in the house. It was in England. It's kind of a Downton Abbey vibe. And someone had said to the woman who was in the upper echelons of society, you know, what about love? And do you have time for love? Do you love anybody? I think she was maybe single or something. And she said, love is for servants. And I remember finding that so hateful. My moon's in Aquarius. My Saturn's in Aquarius as well. I remember finding it so hateful. And then I remember thinking, it's very Aquarian, because she's associating the servants of being tied down and they've a lack of freedom. So they crave love as a way to escape that restriction. And Aquarians can associate love with restriction. That's the thing. Not always, but sometimes. Subconsciously as well. It's in your nature. It's in your psyche. Seven of Swords and the Temperance and the Nine of Cups. For a lot of Aquarians, you were very badly hurt by a Sagittarius. For a lot of you, you were cheated on. Lied to. Manipulated. Ring any bells? Maybe you did it yourself, but regardless of what it is, Aquarius, it's finally starting to show signs of healing. Or it's finally starting to show signs of diminishing in how much it affects your mental health and your emotional well-being. And that's good. And you know how I know that's good? Because the Nine of Cups is there. You're finally getting what you want. Be careful, though. And I say this with love, but I've seen it a lot lately, and I observed this. This first came to my attention in my astrology journey whenever, I think it was Saturn in Sagittarius, I think. But I remember I started to observe that people who shared the sign that Saturn was in got hit very bad karmically, where they had done something unethical, where they had done something cruel, where they had lied on a major level. And I mean major, these are major things, okay? So, and I noticed whenever Saturn moved into Aquarius that a few of the people that I see, I'm not really a news person. I'm not into the news. I'm not into celebrity life as much. I think it sucks out your pep for your own life when you're too involved in celebrities' life. That's just my opinion. But I remember hearing about Ellen DeGeneres get taken down a lot for being cruel. She's an Aquarius, right? So all these are telling you is that you must, with Saturn in your sign, be completely ethical, be completely honest. Don't do anything in your world that you would be embarrassed to see come out. That you would be embarrassed for your friends to hear, for your family to hear, for your partner to hear. Things that would make you feel disappointed in yourself. That's the key. You're basically, in this spread, Aquarius, being handled a lot of stuff with a silver platter. And yet you have this option to do something that would be beneath you. If you're dealing with a Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo, especially if it's a Capricorn, there's a lot of pain and secrets there. If you had an ex in your life that you thought was going to be your everything, that really, 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 really hurt you, I think there's still things coming out about that, and I think you have to share your truth because it's an unnecessary burden to bear. You don't have to help anyone else keep their mask on. And I mean mask in terms of a mask of sanity or a mask of pretending to be a nice person when they're not. I don't mean your actual health and safety mask in the supermarket. You know what I mean. If you're dealing with a fire sign, I think especially if it's an Aries, there's a lot of potential and love there. King of Wands, Ace of Cups, the Emperor, and the Ace of Swords. A lot of love and a lot of truth. And if there's anything that needs to come out there, it will come out there around the Taurus new moon. Oh, the Queen of Wands was hiding away in there. Interesting. I think if you're dealing with a fire sign, they mean well, but they're very stressed. And I think if it's an earth sign, I think there's a lot of pain that needs to be addressed there. I think Saturn, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn in your 12th house was tough. And it set you up for a year where you really had to acknowledge your pain. You had to get in on it. You can't let it dictate your life anymore, Aquarius. You're being set up for something quite wonderful here. Don't let it diminish you. It's got a love card going for you. Lovely Aquarius. The distorted masculine, yeah. A lot of you dealt with people, or there was someone in your life, that was obsessed with being successful in a superficial way, in a successful way because they felt they had to be rich or be wealthy or be flexing all the time or be strong in their perception of things. Self-respect, and you've had to have a lot of self-respect to either heal from that situation if it was you, or step away from someone like that made you feel diminished. And here we have the manifestation card saying that you're manifesting something, which you are. We know this because here's the Nine of Cups. So be careful. If you don't want to manifest somebody sneaky, somebody dishonest, or situations that are the same as this, heal. And how do you heal? You have patience with yourself. You have acceptance for your shortcomings. You forgive yourself. Because that's the hardest person to forgive whenever you get duped, is yourself. Honestly, it is. Nine of Cups. You have so much coming in Taurus season. And even in May. Venus going retrograde in your love sector is going to really show you where the way that you love could have been self-sabotaging your life. The way that you love could have been selling yourself short. But from what I can see, it's setting you up pretty nicely for something quite extraordinary. I love you guys very much, and I will see you in May. Bye, Aquarius.